3DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
It is a thundering Thursday. We've got so much to pack into the show, although outside it's actually very delightful. And I must confess, I just learned something. I thank Harold Grader for this. You know, Memphis, my first coaches meetings are today. I can't wait. I storm out of here, head over to South Campus, and we'll meet with Ryan Silverfield, Mr. Cramsey, Mr. Barnes. We'll all sort of chew over Bethune-Cookman. I learned today from Harold. Do you know, because I had no idea about this, do you know who the athletic director of Bethune-Cookman is, J-Mo?
Who is it?
Reggie Theus. He's the basketball coach and AD.
Really?
Yeah. I loved Reggie Theus when he was a Chicago Bull. I think he's been a Big Three coach, too.
That's what I said. I thought
So
he
he's
was
been a busy
coach.
guy. AD, basketball coach of two different teams. Pretty impressive. You know how old Reggie Theus is now? This shocked me, too. I thought it was like 50.
That's what I would have guessed. 50, 55?
65.
Wow.
He's pretty well preserved for 65. He was great. So I hope I get to meet him in the Memphis press box on Saturday when Bethune-Cookman is in town. Some quick notes, and then we will make our SEC West picks tomorrow, game by game, with Memphis plus 6 picks from what we think will happen over the weekend, including the LSU Florida State game. I have never seen guys smoking the Norvell crack pipe. I mean, come on. LSU's taking care of business there. There's no doubt in my mind. Last night, I think it was last night or yesterday at some point, I'm not 100% sure this was. Did you see how many fans went to Nebraska for a volleyball match?
Set a record.
92,003. Do you know how much money that brought in?
I can only imagine.
$3 million, at least $3 million.
Plus all the money you get from breaking the record for the largest attended event like that.
What do you get for that?
Notoriety, probably some money.
You get notoriety. I don't think you. But every one of those tickets was actually bought. How about that? 92,003 tickets paid for. Some were paying as high as $400 on the secondary market. I think they were priced at around 25. Well, like the basic one was 25. High school kids could get in for $5. It was over $3 million they made off of this. Largest women's sporting event ever. I think that is incredible. And you know what it shows me? Shows me that the football team has been so bad, now they're all volleyball fans. Caroline Wozniacki. Did you watch any of this last night?
I saw her interview this morning.
I did not see. Well, I saw her interview last night on court right after.
No, this was in front of the press.
Okay. I don't know if she said anything different, but she beat last night Petra Kvitova. Kvitova is like the 11th ranked player in the country. She's a two-time Wimbledon, or in the world. She's a two-time Wimbledon champion. This is no slouch. Of course, Caroline was a number one. She retired in 2019. She's 33 now, had 2 kids, was announcing, decided she was going to come back. And the crazy thing is her current ranking is 623, and she is in the 3rd round of the Women's U.S. Open. I mean, I think it's an incredible story. See how fit she is? Do you remember she was supposed to get married, and they actually sent out invitations and everything, and then her heart was broken by, do you know who this is?
No, I don't remember.
She actually got this guy in shape. Unfortunately,
Rory.
She couldn't teach him how to putt, but she got him in shape. Yeah. So then she married David Lee, an NBA guy. Former NBA guy?
Went to Florida, great player.
Yeah. And now they've had 2 kids. She decides giving up on announcing, coming back, and she wins? That is incredible. I think it's a great story. It's the first time she's played in the U.S. Open since 19, and here she is in the 3rd round. Just a couple of neat little stories to begin the day. All right, let's get to our SEC West picks. Are you ready, Mr. J-Mo?
As I'll ever be.
All right. You know what? I think we should shift off on these. I'll give the one school, you give the next. We're not going to go game by game.
Okay.
But I think Alabama is going to be 10-2. I think they will be 6-2 in the SEC.
I've got them 10-2 as well, losing to Tennessee and Auburn in the last game of the year in the SEC.
See, I got them beating Tennessee. I've got them losing to LSU and at A&M.
Wow,
Again.
tough game in College Station.
Yeah. I've got Arkansas 7-5, 3-5 in the league, so they do go bowling again. Sam Pittman keeps his job.
I've got them 7-5 as well, losing 4 straight as they start SEC play, and then losing another one to Florida later in the year.
That's absolutely. So you've got them losing LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, and Bama?
That's right, and Florida.
That's exactly what I've got. I've got Auburn 5-7, and a tough start for Hugh Freeze till he gets his guys in 1-7. Most people would think better of this team than I do.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I've got them 7-5, and I think they culminate their season with a win against Alabama at home this year. I think Hugh Freeze gets him going in the right direction.
I don't think there's any way that will occur, especially that game is at Auburn. That's
right.
That is helpful. I've got LSU as the key to this whole thing. By the way, I've got them beating Florida State. I'll make that prediction tomorrow when we make our picks because that game is going to be in there. So many people, I think the whole crew this morning, Eli, Harold, Greg, and even the caller Mario, I believe, who's a Seminole guy, they all picked Florida State. I think LSU wins that game. I think they only lose one game, and that, believe it or not, is at one of their secondary rivals. That is at Ole Miss in Oxford, because they're not running the table. I think they're 11-1. They win the West.
I've also got them 11-1. The loss I have is a bit peculiar. It's coming out of the bye in Tuscaloosa. That's the only game I'm having losing all year. They might win that one, but I could see them giving up another one. I'm happy with 11-1.
I've got Mississippi State, tough year, 4-8, and they can't win one in the conference.
It's my favorite team I picked this year. I have Mississippi State. Do we do Ole Miss?
No, we haven't done Ole Miss.
I'm sorry.
First.
I'm sorry. Mine's in a different order. I had Mississippi State 9-3.
What?
Yeah, I'm going 9-3. I have them winning the last 5 games of the year, including that's going to Auburn and winning, going to College Station and winning.
And Kentucky at home.
And Kentucky, that's right. I have them losing to LSU and Alabama, and then losing to Arkansas right off the bye. They might beat Arkansas off the bye in Fayetteville, but I could see them giving up another one of those 5 wins that I said down the stretch. I'm happy with 9-3. I'm optimistic about State.
Wow, that is amazing. Ole Miss 8-4 for me, 5-3.
I've got them 7-5, and I think they lose that last game against State, and that puts them at 7-5. That's the difference in 8-4 and 7-5 for me.
And then A&M, I've got 9-3 and 6-2 in the league.
I'm not as high. A lot of people are high on A&M. I'm not as high. I'm 7-5 with A&M. I think they probably finish better than that, but I'm losing to Alabama and Tennessee, Ole Miss, State in College Station, and then LSU at the end of the year.
Those are our picks in the SEC West. Can't wait for tomorrow. I wonder how bullish you will be, or not so much, on the Tigers. That will be obviously a lot of fun to watch. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. I will tell you tomorrow I'm going to talk spas. We got a big sale there, but we've still got a couple of days left in the summer clearance sale where you can get $1,000 off a do-it-yourself pool. 24-foot round pools. Some of them are less than $2,000. You couple that with the do-it-yourself, and you are stealing. Select play gyms under $1,900. Patio furniture 30% off 24 months. Same as cash financing. All you've got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road, where family and fun come together. And this clearance sale comes to an end soon. That's all at Family Leisure. Our title sponsor is Homer Skelton Hyundai. That is in Olive Branch. That is where you can find pre-owned cars. And they've got a lot of them at reduced rates. Remember how high pre-owned cars went during the pandemic? All of that is now stabilized. Prices have gone down there. You can still, and not all of the Hyundai places are allowed to sell Genesis cars, the luxury car, but they do at Homer Skelton Hyundai, and you can get a G70 with $1,000 rebate if you finance with Genesis. Or pick yourself up Santa Fe Sport. I think that's their best seller. I've had about 5 of them. They last forever. They are terrific vehicles, and you've got the best team with the best customer retention right there at Craft Road, the first exit in Mississippi off of Highway 78, Lamar. They've done a lot of work there. Now it's so fast to get there. It's so easy to do business at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We go down to LSU. We go to Baton Rouge as the LSU Tigers get set to do business with the Florida State Mike Norvells.
Fighting
Norvells. A lot of people are thinking Florida State's winning this game. It's in Orlando. What do you think, Ron Higgins? You cover LSU on a daily basis. What's the consensus around Baton Rouge?
That LSU will get full revenge for last year's 1-point loss when they really didn't know what they were doing in their first game under Brian Kelly, and Florida State had a game under their belt before they play LSU. So LSU feels like they're 0-1. It feels like they're a much more complete team. I know Florida State's better too. I don't think the site makes any difference, honestly. I mean, LSU will travel well. They'll have a ton of fans there. And LSU got a starting quarterback who has the third most starts among active FBS quarterbacks. He's a veteran now. They got depth all over the place. I anticipate LSU playing well, but it's going to be a good game. Florida State's good, no doubt about it. I mean, they got an offensive line that has the most starts of anybody in college football. So yeah, it's going to be a really good game. It's the best game of the weekend. I mean, the opening weekend.
And to give Mike Norvell full credit, and he deserves it, he's a heck of a coach, no doubt about it. But there took a period of buy-in, I think, in Tallahassee. Remember, it was a defensive lineman who was a really great player, all ACC guy. He came in, they clashed. He had to apologize to him. I think there was a period of buy-in, and I think that period is over. I think they're all in with Norvell now.
Yeah, I agree. I think, last year kind of turned it. They started 4-0, lost 3 straight, then won 6 straight at the end of the season. The quarterback kind of got his act together. Like I said, they have a really good line. They got a running game, but they averaged like over 200 yards a game last year. But they had like 6 or 7 straight games of over 200 yards rushing. So yeah, I'd say again, this is gonna be a really good game. It's a really good first week matchup. 2 top 10 teams, and again, LSU has been pointing for this game since last year when they played just awful and still lost by a point in the Superdome in the opener.
So I picked LSU to win the West, honestly. I've picked Georgia, like everybody else, to win the East. Those are the positives. I think Tennessee has a breakout year. They finished second in the East. I think if we're looking at some negatives here, I do not have a whole lot of hope for Florida at all. In fact, I have them 4-8. I also have Mississippi State struggling under Zach Arnett in his first full season as the head coach after the just tragic passing of Mike Leach. I'm wondering, you concur with these? What are your thoughts?
I had LSU winning the West, but I'm not discounting Alabama. Alabama's whole thing is basically their quarterback situation, and how quickly will that be solved? We'll find out starting Saturday against Middle Tennessee State. I'm sure he'll play 2 quarterbacks, maybe even 3. They got to kind of get a feel for what he has.
So do you think the West comes down to November 4th in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, I think it could. Yeah,
so no chance for A&M, say, or Ole Miss for that matter. I put more stock in Ole Miss than A&M. Honestly, good. I think A&M's been overrated every year they've been there, and Jimbo is yet to have a quarterback who can play well. They underachieve every year. They're supposed to have great recruiting classes, and you're kind of still waiting for them to be really, really good, and they haven't been there. Ole Miss is always a question of if their defense can equal their offense. Honestly, after this first game against LSU, Florida State, I think LSU's toughest game, and possibly until they play Alabama, is at Ole Miss. The LSU always has a tough time with Ole Miss, especially in Oxford.
I think the way Ole Miss lost the game last year, but I think they led 17-3, then LSU actually blitzed them. That's when Ole Miss was undefeated coming in here. I think Ole Miss will be pointing toward that game too. So that's such a game I think it'll be really, really key for LSU. But
it's funny that you say that. That's the loss that I have for LSU. I have them 11-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, that's a game they can lose. I just think Ole Miss has that ability to jump up and beat teams. They surely have a good enough offense. They got the best running back in the league. But this weekend, it's most of them a bunch of paid wins basically. But there's a few good games. The LSU, Florida State. That's a good game.
That's the best game.
Utah tonight.
Well,
Florida Utah tonight.
Florida Utah tonight. But I think Florida, as I just mentioned, I think they're a four-win team this year.
Well, I can't get a read on them. I mean, I know the coach is a decent coach. He was a good coach in Louisiana Lafayette. How's it translate?
He was. But isn't he a hot seat guy right now? The way Florida's played.
Well, I mean that's why Florida's very impatient down there. They made a lot of bad hires over the years. So yeah, I mean Utah's quarterback's not playing. He's hurt. He's out. He just hadn't really recovered yet from something that had happened all season. South Carolina, North Carolina, and Charlotte. That's probably a decent game.
That's a great game too. Yeah,
it's a great game. Tennessee should really roll Virginia in Nashville.
28-point favorites.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's some intrigue the first weekend. I mean, the SEC sets a schedule that basically each team plays a pretty good or tries to play a pretty good opponent, non-conference opponent in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. Alabama's got Texas on the 9th, Mississippi State and Arizona on the 9th, Missouri and Kansas State 2 weeks later. I mean, they try to fit this stuff in, BYU and Arkansas. But there's some teams, that you look at their non-conference schedule and they still need to come up to snuff. Again, it's going to be a really good year. LSU, Alabama, and Missouri, they're only teams that play 8 straight weeks before an open date. So I don't know if that's advantage or disadvantage, but LSU, Alabama always has an open date before their game. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm fired up for tonight's game. This whole first weekend, you kind of get with watching SEC on TV. You can see every game. You kind of go around the conference and drop it on different games and see what each has. Storylines all over the place. Ole Miss has like 18 quarterbacks. Mississippi State's got to try to go from a transition to a new offense. I think that'll be difficult, like you said, with what indicated their record. I think that's I know Will Rogers is an extremely intelligent quarterback, but I wonder how you force feed personnel that was built for one offense into another. It's hard to do.
One interesting aspect, last thing before we have to go. Vanderbilt, which beat Hawaii, didn't look so good, but they did beat them. They've got 2 off weeks. One comes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the 8th, and maybe that's the one you're referring to.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because they play Hawaii in week 0?
Yeah.
They get the week off before they play Tennessee, which could end up being for a bowl. The way I've got it set up, that would be for a bowl game, much like it was a year ago, and unfortunately that's not going to happen. I've got them 5-7. But with that week off, that could be helpful.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, they'll start at least 2-0. Could split the next 2 games.
That's what I think happens. Yeah,
you got Kentucky, Missouri, and Nashville, and that's winnable. Those are winnable.
We'll see about at Florida. Florida, I've got them losing that game, but that depending on how Florida unravels here, we'll see.
Yeah, they got Auburn and Nashville later in the year, but I think Auburn's going to be better than people think. I've always had a lot of faith wherever Hugh Freeze goes, and they usually win somehow, even when they don't have enough talent.
All right, my friend, we are off and running. Good luck in Orlando, and we will chat next week, our usual time, which will be on Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, that is our friend. That is Ron Higgins. He is brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, always new, efficient technology. Like you can get up to $300 savings on a new energy-efficient tank or a tankless water heater from Conway. Upgrade the old inefficient system with a new water heater, or you could get an even better energy-efficient model that is tankless. That's where you're only heating the water you need, and you never run out, and I am a witness to all of that. I've got it. It's one of the greatest technological purchases I've had in the last few years, and the prices have come down on that technology. All you got to do is visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions, or call 384-3511. That's the number to Conway. Back in just a minute, we will head across town. We'll chat with our good friend on the NFL, maybe a little Tiger Talk too. That's Russell Copeland, and he is next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 MPG Highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility. $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun-to-drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander. $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 PH 06839, MSRP 17895, Cross RZ 00688, MSRP 29850, Outlander PZO 59809, MSRP 30080, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
School on! Save on!
Back to school is on, and Staples has great prices on everything you need for your best year yet. Save on headphones and laptops. Save on notebooks, pens, and all the essentials. Priced low and still in stock. And right now at Staples, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each. Plus, select notebooks are just 35 cents each. School on, save on at Staples, where school savings are always in session. Ends 9/16, in-store only, limit 30.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, we got things to talk about with Russell Copeland. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. They're big Tiger supporters. They loved watching Russell Copeland play, that's for sure. Matt and his team, though, they have a part to play as well, and that is to protect you and all Tiger fans, and they do it so many different ways, but the way they do it is they get to know you. It's collaboration, protection through collaboration. They'll sit down, they'll get to know you and your family, and then they'll pick out exactly what car insurance, what auto program we're talking about, what you might need for your home, what you might need for life insurance. Matt and his crew, they meet you. Then the same thing happens if you got a small to mid-sized business. They are terrific with those sizes for commercial insurance. They get to know you, your product, your employees, what your budget is, and then they will protect you. That's the Eflin Insurance Team, 901-386-GER, because they love the Tigers. That's 901-386-4777. We actually have something to talk about because the NFL season is just about upon us, and I guess we should start there. It's not quite here. This is the first time I can remember. They only played 3 games in the preseason, and then they decided to take a week off before they start the regular season. So there's about a 10-day rest period for a lot of these teams. You like or dislike Russell Copeland?
I definitely love that. Dave, it's a chance to get your players healthy, to get rested. And then once you trim down to your 53-man roster, now you see what you have, and you get an opportunity to practice for those 6 or 7 extra days.
I think it is too, and guys get rested, and even in the exhibition season, only 3 games. All the scrimmage work they do now between teams and everything, injuries do occur. We've seen a lot of guys boarded off the field, carted off the field on the board. So I love the new concept. I think it is really good. All right, let's get down to brass tacks, and what we predict here in the as the season unfolds, what we think will happen in the AFC. Let's start there. Let's start with your former team, the Buffalo Bills, in the AFC East. I like them to win the division. I know the Jets are going to give them a lot of grief. So will Miami. This is a good division. New England is like an afterthought.
This is really a good division from top to bottom. But as you talked about the Buffalo Bills, I do think I picked the Bills to be number 1. But I do think the division is closing in on them. I think that window is closing. I think they've had a couple of really good seasons the past couple of years, but not been able to get over the hump. And I like the Jets coming in at number 2. If you look at what the Jets have been able to do, bringing in Aaron Rodgers, now they just recently signed Dalvin Cook. Aaron Rodgers brought wide receivers from Green Bay and Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. He has Nathaniel Hackett, his old offensive coordinator, Garrett Wilson, the Rookie of the Year at the wide receiver position, and he also has McCole Hartman Jr., who was a big-time receiver for Kansas City. So I like these 2 teams. When you look at the Dolphins, I think they take a step back. And the main question for me is the health of Tua Tagovailoa. Can he stay healthy the entire season? I think the Jets, the Patriots is a wild card. And you said an afterthought. It's kind of mind-boggling that we look at the Patriots now being number 4. But the style of offense that they're going to bring this year could cause some issues in the AFC because they're going to run some 12 personnel with some 2 tight ends. They're going to run downhill. They just recently signed Ezekiel Elliott. They're always going to have a tough defense. So it's going to be tough to see how defenses stop the New England Patriots. But I've given you my top 2. I think it's going to be the Bills and the Jets.
I'm in total agreement, and I'll be honest with you. The Patriots are proof positive in professional sports where there are drafts and the last place teams pick first. You can't stay on top forever, and New England's run has been remarkable. In the AFC North, you got Pittsburgh, which was, if you believe the exhibition season, unbeaten. They were outstanding. Kenny Pickett looks like the real deal. They've got receiving. They can run the ball. They've got everything going for them. I don't see how Pittsburgh does not win this division. I know Cincinnati has been really good, but there's questions about the Joe Burrow health.
I really love this division, and I'm kind of torn. I wanted to pick the Steelers to go ahead and make the playoffs, but I'm going with the Ravens. Yes, I'm sold on the Baltimore Ravens. What John Harbaugh and the general manager has been able to do this offseason, they signed Lamar Jackson, so he has his money. But bringing in Odell Beckham Jr., you drafted Zay Flowers, who's an outstanding receiver, Rashad Bateman, who was a first rounder a couple of years ago. As far as receivers, you still have Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, and also Gus Edwards, and you know that defense is going to be attacking. I got the Ravens number 1. I got the Bengals still with Joe Burrow number 2. I think they may stumble a little bit out of the block. Joe Burrow's not 100% healthy. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, I really like what I've seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think that overall the Bengals and the Ravens are better. And that dark horse is the Browns. Can Deshaun Watson get back to that type of form? I don't know if he can get back to the form that we've seen. He's been out of football for a long time. I think they'll be competitive. But I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens, number one, and the Bengals, and the Steelers on the outside looking in.
I got Pittsburgh as the upset winner of that division. In the South, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, Indy. Seems to me Jacksonville, once they got the right coach, they had the right quarterback, they're making their move upward.
Hey, this has always been a tough division, but I only have the Jaguars coming out of this division as far as the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence is looking like the quarterback that we thought he would be. Doug Peterson has his football team playing. They believe in him. Doug Peterson is the Super Bowl winning quarterback. He works very well. Coach. He's been a backup quarterback throughout most of his career, so he understands quarterbacks. He works very well with quarterbacks, and you can see the difference when he worked with Trevor Lawrence. I got the Jaguars coming out of this division, but I do think it's going to be very competitive. The Texans, I think they're a couple of players, maybe a year or two away. The Colts the same way. And the Tennessee Titans, I think they've been right there on the brink of it, but I think they're going downward instead of trending upward. Give me the Jaguars out of that division.
I'm with you. Kansas City in the AFC West, they're just the class of the NFL, in my estimation. The Chargers are an intriguing team. It'll be interesting to see what Denver does with Sean Payton as their head coach. And then there's Vegas, which I'm not a believer in at all.
I think it's the Chiefs, and you hit the nail on the head when you say intriguing with the Chargers. You know, what Charger team is going to show up? Is it going to be the team that comes out of the block and plays really well, but later on they falter? Is it going to be the team that falters early in the season and try to make a run later on? I really can't put my finger on the Chargers, but I have them at number two. The Raiders, I don't think, they have a lot of things that's going on with the Raiders. I don't think Josh McDaniels is the head coach. He's lost a lot of players. His top players really don't seem to want to play for him. And when you look at the Broncos with Russell Wilson, I don't think he's definitely going to get back to the form that we've seen him before. Sean Payton is an outstanding coach. I think it's going to be more of throwing the football around, letting wide receivers run after the catch. But I think they are a quarterback away, and also they're missing some pieces offensively and defensively. So give me the Chiefs and the Chargers, 1 and 2.
I think as far as Denver goes, I think you hit it on the head. I think actually Russell Wilson will be better than he was last year. But it seems to me, in the old thing, Father Time is undefeated. I think he is past his prime. Let's move to the NFC, and the East is really an intriguing division. Washington, the Giants, Dallas, Philly. Philly didn't win a game in the exhibition season. Who cares? It's the exhibition season. I still believe the Eagles are the best team in that division.
Well, I got the Philadelphia Eagles at 1. I got the Cowboys at 2. But sneaking behind is the Giants. The Giants, to me, they are an intriguing team. I think they'll be very competitive. We saw them last year under Brian Dable be able to make the playoffs. But I still give it to the Eagles 1, the Cowboys 2. And I think the Commanders will be a team that's going to win some games. I think they can make something interesting, especially if they can steal a game from the Cowboys and the Eagles. I got the Giants looking on the outside, but the Eagles 1 and the Cowboys 2.
NFC North, my division, black and blue.
Man.
Bears are going to be better. Detroit seems to be everybody's darling. Green Bay, without Aaron Rodgers, they're going to slip. Minnesota, which didn't win an exhibition game either, they're a team. Kirk Cousins, they should be in the mix.
I think this team, I think this division here is up for grabs for anyone. I'm going to say the Lions win this division. I don't think they're a surprise anymore. I think the Vikings finished 2 with the veteran leadership that they have. They've been there before. And I think the Bears and the Packers are on the outside looking in. I think both of these teams will play better. I think your Bears, I think they made a lot of great off-season acquisitions. They'll be very competitive, but I still think they're a couple of players away from winning this division and being competitive where they can really compete for that title. And the Packers, I think they'll be better than people expect with Jordan Love. But when you lose Aaron Rodgers, it's going to take a lot of wind out of the sails. But give me the Lions 1, the Vikings 2.
I am really intrigued with Chicago. I think if Justin Fields is the real deal like everybody thought, I think his offensive line has improved. Defensively, I think they're pretty okay. If the Bears can block for Fields and he's the guy they thought he was, they'll make the playoffs. It just comes down to, is Justin Fields really as good as people thought he would be? In the NFC South, I don't know about this division. New Orleans, Tampa Bay without Mr. Brady, Atlanta, and Carolina. There's nobody that jumps out to me here.
The Saints jump out to me. I like what the Saints have done in the offseason. I think they were a quarterback away. They have an outstanding defense, top 5 defense each and every year. Now you've added another quarterback, and Derek Carr. He's been there before. He has a ton of weapons to throw the football to. The Saints will be one of the teams in the NFC that you'll see in the playoffs, and they definitely can make some noise. But I think they're the only team that come out of that division. I think Atlanta's got a lot of young talent. They'll fly around the football on defense. Offensively, they'll make some big plays. But I just think they're too young. They're in the rebuilding process. Give me the Saints.
I also picked the Saints to win this division, but I love their D. I agree with you there. But Derek Carr, I was a fan of Derek Carr years ago. He's never come through. So I don't know. We shall see there. And then in the West is my pick would be San Francisco, but Seattle's going to give them a run. I have no idea about Arizona and the Rams. I can't figure out how they have fallen so quickly.
I totally agree with you. Give me the 49ers 1, the Seahawks 2. I think the Seahawks will be challenging the San Francisco 49ers this year, but I just like the San Francisco 49ers offensively, defensively. They're well coached. They're going to have a top 2 or 3 defense in the league. They're going to be attacking. They're going to get turnovers, and they protect the football. Can Purdy get back to the form that he had last year when he took over midseason and had his playoff run? But give me the Niners and the Seahawks. The Rams, you asked a question, Dave, how they fell off. I think they sold everything up front. They got a winning team. They won a Super Bowl, and now they've lost a lot of their players. But they did what they wanted to do. They got the free agency, and they won a Super Bowl.
I know they released Henderson last year. Where did he ever end up anywhere?
He went with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he was cut in the offseason.
Man,
so he's waiting.
His fall was really quick. You know, we also mentioned, by the way, that with San Francisco, who we just both picked, that's where Anthony Miller ended up. I hope it's a big year for him, connecting with Brock Purdy. He's got a second chance there. I forgot to mention this earlier, and I just found it out a little while ago. The Chicago Bears picked up yesterday Quindell Johnson. And I'm telling you, I thought he was going to make an NFL roster. I'm so glad he's made it.
Hey, that's an outstanding pickup for them. I think the Rams were going to bring him back, but I think his agent and along with himself thought that the Bears would be a better situation for him. I love that pick for the Bears.
Me too. All right, postseason, how do you view it?
Well, I'm just going to go straight to the top. I got the Ravens versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Ravens win the Super Bowl.
Huh.
I got the Ravens.
I've got Kansas City winning the Super Bowl over San Francisco.
I love it.
We're here, buddy. Isn't that great? Any last thing before we move on? Any quick thoughts about what you think will be the way the Tigers go this year?
Well, I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's a new face Tigers. I've got the Tigers winning 9 or 10 games this year. I'm just ready to see offensive line play, and there's a lot of weapons, some explosive plays from the Tigers, and I want to see an attacking defense, a defense that gets turnovers. I'm just looking forward to the season.
That is our man, Russell Copeland. I'll see you in a little bit at the coaches' meetings. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
Thank you.
That's Russell Copeland on the National Football League, and, of course, a little bit on the Tigers. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken knows the big decision you're making and the commitment financially you're making, which is why he pledges. He works closely with you in on every decision. He'll have great communications because you are absolutely building that dream home. He'll guarantee you this, too. Quality, on time, on budget. That's the way he works. If you're looking for land, he's got it. If you're not sure how to utilize land, maybe you've had it in your family for a long time, you're ready for the dream home, he's got the knowledge. Go see what I'm talking about. KenGarland.com. Then give him a call. He's fun to talk to. He's that guy that sees the little details and the big picture all at the same time. His number is 751-1632. Go to KenGarland.com, then call 751-1632. Maybe it's a renovation. You want to stay, but you want modern amenities. Nobody does a renovation with better innovation than my guy, Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Back in a minute, Jarvo will end our Thursday, as always, on Wolo and Friends.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Lander Sport.
Yeah, it's a good idea going after the Wozniacki forehand, always been the slightly weaker wing of the Dane. Yeah, it's great stuff from Wozniacki. One of the rare times so far that she's really been able to start dictating things. That's just so good from Kvitova under pressure. First set that Caroline Wozniacki has won here in New York. Yeah, brilliant point again from Wozniacki. Very calmly dealt with that bounce smash as well. Well, where has that kind of tennis been for the last hour and a half or so from Petra Kvitova? And another. Looks like a completely different player on the court the last two games. Not easy, the pass for Wozniacki. Okay, back-to-back holds to love. One for Wozniacki, one for Kvitova. The fairy tale in New York continues for Caroline Wozniacki. Yeah, it's a good idea going after the Wozniacki forehand, always been the slightly weaker wing of the day.
Ram PN 671,333, MSRP 48,390, Jeep PL 561,602, MSRP 54,655. Must finance through Chrysler Capital, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month, dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Cruising through this Thursday, tomorrow. You know, it's really already week 3 for high school football. We will begin college football in earnest. The Tigers and Bethune-Cookman. That takes place at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium Saturday night at 6 o'clock. We hope we see a lot of you there for sure. I know that Jarvis Greer absolutely feels the same way I do. We are getting set for coaches' meetings here in about a half an hour. How are you this morning, my friend?
Doing great, Dave. Doing great. You know, it's one thing, people, why are we playing Bethune-Cookman? An HBCU that really nobody knows that much about around here, although some of us do. Mary McLeod Bethune was one of the great civil rights leaders from back in the day, and that school is down there in Florida. But it's I think it happened when when North Texas became a league game all of a sudden because of the departure of those other schools from the American, they had to find, a replacement on the schedule, very quickly, and that's how Bethune-Cookman got on the Tigers' schedule.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case, too, although Ryan Silverfield said there was some other thing in the mix, and I'm going to try to clarify that today. But they were available, and Memphis needed a new opening game, and that is how that all ended up working out. I just learned today, I did not know this. I don't know, were you listening to the show at the beginning of the day?
Yes, I was.
So you know who the AD is then?
Oh, well, I did miss that part.
Ah.
I was listening when you were talking about some of the players, what happened with the coach and everything.
Reggie Theus is the athletic director of
Reggie
Bethune-Cookman.
Theus. he was one of my wife's favorite players in the NBA because of obvious reasons, and the women in the audience would know that.
Yeah, no. I hope he's in the press box. I'd love to meet him. I loved him with the Bulls, and now you know what? I mean, he's a busy dude. AD, basketball coach at Bethune-Cookman, basketball coach in the Big Three. 65.
Yeah, well, he's about running with the Tigers there. That's about my age now. I won't tell you exactly how old I am, although I did just have a birthday. And I'm older than him, by the way. But he still looks pretty good. He can still pull them, if you know what I mean. So congratulations to Bethune-Cookman Wildcats for getting Reggie Theus as their AD.
All right, what's your first thought when I talk about 2023 Tiger football?
Oh, one quick thing there. He also had a good turn in He Got Game, too. You remember that movie? Reggie Theus was his recruiter, basically, at that school in you saw He Got Game, right? Spike Lee's movie with
I think I did.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
He was in that movie?
Yeah, he was in the movie. He was one of the recruiters trying to get the great shooter, one of the greatest shooters in the NBA. Dadgummit, his name just escaped me. Hit that big shot from the corner to help the Heat win.
Ray Allen. Jesus
Ray
Shuttlesworth.
Ray Allen was the top three-point shooter until Steph Curry came along. He broke his record.
Yep, that's correct. So a little bit of a brush with greatness right there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the first game, Shakedown Crew. We've heard some about the transfers. Time to see them. This team is not young anymore. You look down the two-deep roster, you see a lot of redshirt juniors, redshirt seniors, fifth-year players. This team, the Tigers I'm talking about, should be ready to go, should be ready to put on a show. I think they will go as far as their offensive line will take them. I think the defense is pretty much set. They did lose a few, but they brought back some really good players at key positions on the defensive line, linebacker, and in the secondary. We'll have to see how the new guys work out. And if the offensive line comes around and Memphis gets a good running game, I believe that Seth Hennigan will be able to just hit the guys that are open. He knows how to find them. And then Memphis might get a double-digit regular season win total.
So you're saying they win 10? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. And I think the schedule works out for them in that quest. There's going to be some tough games along the way. Missouri was what were they? They won 4 games last season. I mean, I really would be upset if Memphis went up there and did not play well in that game and win. I'm worried about Boise State. Boise State's coming off a 7-5 year, but that's at least at home. 7-5, you say, well, that's not like the Boise State.
And I believe they're picked to win the Mountain West.
Yeah, I mean they beat BYU when BYU was ranked 10th. I think they put 40 on BYU. They beat Fresno State at the end of the year when Fresno State was ranked 25th. And those two on the road, and also on the road, they beat common opponent Utah State 27-3, and that was also on the road. Tigers beat Utah State in the First Responder Bowl. What was it, 37-13 or something like that.
Well, you know what? I think we'll get a little glimpse when the Tigers go to Jonesboro, week 2. The big stretch that you really will find if this team is capable of winning an AAC championship or being in the mix for the New Year's Day 6 will be going to St. Louis with Missouri, coming back and playing Boise, and then you've got the Tulane game. Now, everybody keeps talking about Tulane from last year, and they should. They beat USC in a New Year's Day 6 bowl. They
won.
Returned their quarterback. But let me just say this. You know the last time Tulane won in Memphis? Memphis has struggled there. They only won once in that new stadium. But do you know when the last time was they won in Memphis?
Was it 94? It's been a long time.
98. 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And by the way, they do have Michael Pratt, their quarterback, coming back, but they don't have Spears, their running back. How many touchdowns did he have last year? It was like crazy amount.
And that's one thing. If you give Seth Hennigan a running game, I think he can do the things that Michael Pratt did last year. And we saw Tulane there toward the latter part of the season. Memphis was shell-shocked at the beginning of the game, got down with 31-0. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, fumbles, big returns, all kind of things, interception. And then they went in the locker room, righted themselves, and started playing Tiger football. And it was a game down the stretch with, Memphis having a chance to maybe, if they that last pass in the end zone for a touchdown there, got a chance to do an onside kick and have a chance to win it like Houston did against Memphis last year. So, there's a lot of things up for grabs this season, and luck has not been on the Tigers' side the last couple of years. And last year, 4 games lost by 7 points or less with a chance to either, going late in the game with a chance to either tie or win. So
that's why their motto this year is finish.
Finish. You got that right.
Yeah. And I think that was sort of the message. I know you were not able to go to the press conference with Dr. Hargrave and with Laird Veach, but the message was Memphis fans, everybody, we got to finish when it comes to conference expansion.
There are so many things on the table, and none of this is done yet. It may be another year or two down the line before the next move happens. But I don't think, with the ACC and still in flux, and who knows what's going to happen with the Pac-4, the teams that are left. There's been something that's been floated around that may be gaining a little traction. I think Mike Oresco is really working like, he looks kind of calm on the top, but he's working really hard under the water like a duck, to get some sort of alliance or formation between the best teams in the Mountain West, plus Oregon State and Washington State, and along with San Diego State, which has been really good lately, Boise State, which has got a long history of playing well, and the best teams that are in this league, and making some sort of, it'll be coast to coast, but it would actually be a pretty good league if they could make something like that.
Well, they could make that a West Division and an East Division. Yeah. And honestly, for football only, you could include Air Force and Army. Wouldn't that be kind of cool if that became a conference game?
That would. I'm not really looking for that so much, because I think the importance of the military academies is probably going to keep going down with this NIL business. None of them can take NIL,
right?
And that's really where you make your money now. Especially
you're always going to have the prestige with America's finest young men when it comes to protecting this country being in your league. I believe you're right. But I think they're still going to get the same quality athlete that they always got. I don't think that's going to go away.
It's just, whether it'll move the needle television-wise. You know what I mean? And that seems to be what's driving this deal now, because otherwise, why is SMU even being mentioned for the ACC? It's because they want that Dallas market. That is the only reason. Memphis is basically, owned.
Well, all I can say on that, and then we got to go, is this. You notice they haven't taken a vote yet? You know why?
No.
You know why they haven't taken a vote yet?
Don't have everybody on board.
Because they don't have the votes. That's why.
That's exactly right. If you don't have the votes, you're not going to take a vote, because you don't want to go out there and, we thought we were. No, you want to have all your ducks in a row before you take a vote on something like that. And then it's an odd number, 3 teams.
Yeah. That is odd too, because that now, if it stays status quo, they're certainly going to take 1 to 3 more in the long run. So stay tuned, as we like to say. Jarva, next week when we reconvene, we'll be talking about a trip to Jonesboro. Thank you, my friend.
Very good, Dave. See you in a few.
You got it. That's Jarvis Greer. And he is brought to you by Miramichi. Oh, please go out and check out Miramichi now with these lower humidity, wonderful weathers, that fall sunlight. I love that fall sunlight. It's golden. It's my favorite time of the year, fall. Have I told you that? That's my favorite time of the year. Temperature's beautiful. Humidity's beautiful. Sunlight's beautiful. Great time to play golf. The best months to play golf. Seriously. September, October, and half of November. You've got time to get to Miramichi. Make a tee time, though, because it's hard to get on because it's so good. All the different tee boxes, the beauty that surrounds you, the back nine's like taking a walk through the woods. Best practice facility going, and reduced rates after noon and after 3 o'clock. Go check it out. You'll love it in Woodstock. 20 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. That is Miramichi. Tell them we sent you. That'll do it for us. We make Memphis picks tomorrow. We got high school. We got college picks tomorrow. We got NBA. We got it all coming your way, and I'll be live from Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis. Johnny Radio's next.
Memphis